So I think I've seen about 50 recommended videos in my YouTube feed about a concept called quiet quitting. YouTubers love quiet quitting. As someone that's built a side business making more than 6 figures per year while still keeping my job, I wanted to comment on this seemingly new idea. First off, quiet quitting, in case you're not familiar with the term, is that you mentally and emotionally check out of a job, but you still remain employed at the company. So basically, you don't show up early, you don't stay late, you don't do anything extra to get recognized at work. You just kind of float along doing the bare minimum so that you can continue to get a paycheck. According to the videos I've watched, this is a seemingly new concept among tech workers. And basically, it's a way to cope with being overlooked for promotions. Maybe you're being overworked, you're stressed out, burnt out, or just generally tired of the job. But before I explain how I would approach quiet quitting, one small piece of advice for you. You right there, you're thinking about it. I wouldn't tell anyone you work with that you're mentally quitting. It doesn't seem like a good idea to broadcast to anyone, even if you're feeling down about your job. Don't share that information with anyone that you work with until, you're ready to be real quitting the job. I wouldn't even share this privately with people that you trust at work. Stuff like this just has a weird way of working itself around the office. I just don't see any upside in telling your coworkers about this aside from just kind of venting. Next, I don't think quiet quitting is really a new concept at all even. I think this has been a workplace phenomena that's been happening forever. I remember, looking back when I used to work in an office, I was in a place with literally dozens of rows of cubicles with web designers and account managers and secretaries and team leads and writers, and they were all working on this same floor. And I remember I would get up out of my little cubicle, walk down to the break room to get a coffee. And as I walked to the break room, I'd have to go through probably 8 or 9 rows of these people. And you'd end up seeing people's screens, and you just see all the way down there, it'd be people scrolling through Facebook, reading a blog about their favorite sports team, watching YouTube. Sometimes I'd hear coworkers in the cubicle next to me. On the phone, they'd be talking to credit card companies or booking their next vacation or whatever. Bottom line, it always blew me away at how many people in the office were just sort of killing time most of the day, not really being too productive. I know numerous people who continue grinding along in the same role for years with their heads down just like this. The only way they really end up ever moving out of their job is if they're forced to through, getting laid off or downsizing or something like that. And I bet people that fit this description too, but in the past, this was just never labeled quiet quitting. It was just called kind of being average or maybe a little bit below average. Now, if you're thinking about quiet quitting, I totally get the appeal of the concept. You might feel like there's nothing you can do to get promoted, which, hey, that happens in the workplace sometimes, depending on where you get stuck. Maybe you didn't get picked for the role you were really interested in. Maybe you just plain old don't like what you're doing anymore. Maybe you've seen hardworking employees too get laid off, and that's kind of disillusioned you about the company's mission statement. And for those of you that are kind of feeling this way and you're thinking about quiet quitting, I'm gonna give you 2 pieces of advice, aside from not telling your coworkers about it yet. First, I think in most workplaces, you can be an above average contributor still by just spending some focused time during your day. Some of these videos that I've watched, people talk about working like 12-hour days nonstop, and I do think, I know that happens in some workplaces in some situations, but there's also a lot of workplaces where you can put in 4 hours of focused work in a day, and you're gonna be one of the top performers on the team. Guaranteed. This is an option for all jobs, I get that, but for a lot of them, it's gonna be. Next, I think a lot of people have tried, and this is kind of probably a little bit of a problem with American culture. We attach a lot of our personal identity and meaning to the job that we have and the place that we work. I think we've all seen where, we get told by the company, your work is really important, you guys are changing the world, and then a couple weeks later, there's a bunch of layoffs and cutbacks to the people that are most valuable in the company. Let me tell you, I've worked at companies that went through massive layoffs too, so I know how stressful it is. I know how demoralizing it is. I am empathetic to all of that. But I will also say this, for those of you that are ambitious, I would say start thinking about a side business. Instead of putting all of your emotion and your hard work and like your personal identity that you used to put into work, put it into a side business too. A side business, you're not gonna need acceptance or approval for a boss to start doing something. You can shift gears, you can get creative. You can't get fired from your own business if you build something cool. It actually ends up making money. There's gonna be value in that. You can actually begin creating an asset. Unlike doing something in the workplace, you can do some great things at work. You can cut costs, make the company more money. In most situations, you're gonna get a pat on the back for it from the boss, maybe rewarded with some more work and some more projects and that sort of thing. But there's just more upside to starting a side hustle than getting promoted at work most of the time. Odds are, if you were to get that promotion that maybe you wanted, odds are in the past when I've gotten a raise at work, they've typically between the range of like $200 per month or $400 per month in my paycheck. Now, I 100% appreciate any raise or additional income that comes my way. But the reality is you can definitely increase your means significantly faster through a side hustle than waiting for annual raises or biannual raises or trying to get promoted. As an example, I've got 2 blogs that I built in my spare time as a side hustle over the years. I could list these now at around $800,000 on the open market. There's literally nothing I could do at my job to get paid that much, aside from working the better part of a decade to earn it. It's just a total game changer. I've been in corporate America for like 15 years and my 401k doesn't even have 100 grand in it. So my advice, if you decide to quiet quit, put your emotional energy and passion towards building an asset for yourself. That's what I think you should do. If you start something small like a freelancing business, you'll be putting no money at risk to start this business, and you're also gonna learn a lot of business skills and create a much better situation for yourself. Quiet quitting, it might sound good, it might sound appealing for a few days, might feel good for a couple of weeks, but at the end of the day, it doesn't change your situation, doesn't get you any extra freedom, doesn't make you any more money. I think the concept is a fad, and I don't think it's gonna be here next year. Just being real. I encourage you to take this time when you're making a mindset shift, take this emotional energy and start building a side business instead of just checking out as a way to cope with reality. And if you are thinking about quiet quitting this year, let me know why in the comments and what you think the benefits of it are gonna be. I genuinely wanna know. Bye-bye now.